time, and you can learn things from them, how to maybe prolong your career a little bit, or things that they regret doing. I really don't want to share that stuff, but yeah, just trying to always learn and adapt. And age is just a number, man. I think last year particularly, I needed to prove to myself that I could go out there and repeat and get in a routine and pitch every 5 days and just show myself that I could be healthy again. And that was the box that I really wanted to tick. And I was able to do that. And then once I got in that routine, I started to feel good again and start pitching and start having some success. And okay, wow, I can do this and still be really successful like I thought I could. That's always in the back of the mind. Yeah.
Your fastball actually tipped up a little last year.
At the beginning.
Previous year,
Yeah.
And which it seems to kind of illustrate what you're sensing. But what happened? Scott talked about this a little yesterday. But what happened in turning your first and second half over in your mind?
Well, that's pretty. We've talked about it at length. It's a pretty nuanced answer. Just some mechanic stuff. I think the velocity ticks up because I was healthy. I had some stuff, obviously, the year before, didn't pitch very much. And I think when you're healthy and your body's moving the way you want it to, that's when, the velocity comes. So I was very happy to see that. I worked really hard in the offseason the year before to kind of get back to the way I wanted to move. And that really equated to the extra ticks in velocity that you're talking about. But it wasn't successful right away. It took me some time to kind of sync everything up and figure out. I really kind of liken it to 2017, like a month before I got traded to Houston. I don't know if you remember this, but I worked all year long. It was like coming to the park every day. What's not right? What can I find? I need to find something. And then finally, after the trade deadline had passed, something clicked. And I told you guys after it started, like that was it. You can just tell when you're out there the way the hitters perceive the ball. And that was similar to last year, just working every single day to find something. And then I found something later in the season that clicked. And then from then on, just was off to the races. Yeah.
Justin, for as long as you thought about this for Union, there was a time where it looked like this team might not be competitive again to the point that they would appeal to you while you were still pitching. Did you ever begin to doubt if this day would come to fruition?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it was something that when I left here, it was talked about a lot about, okay, we're gonna be in a deep rebuilding process. Is something I talked about with Al Avila back then, and I want to win, like Scott talked about. So I think the writing was on the wall at that point. But at that time when I left, I thought that there was a chance that I could come back and potentially help the team in a full circle thing when they're good again. As of a few years ago, it didn't seem like that, and especially after a couple years ago when I had the neck injury and things were uncertain.
Special moments in Detroit, and always had the fan support, and even after you left, they really rooted for you to win in Houston. I wonder how much you felt that, noticed that, and now the kind of outpouring and support you've seen just in these 2 days since the announcement that you were coming back. I mean, it's been bananas.
Yeah. No, I definitely felt that, particularly in 17. Like, it was so abrupt, and then we went on the run right away and went to the World Series. So I definitely felt Detroit's presence in that. And then, more recently, I got so many text messages from old friends, Detroit friends. I probably got just as many as, throwing a no-hitter or winning a Cy Young, winning a World Series. It was like that much attention, which was pretty cool. And I don't know, it just makes you feel great.
Coming back, but also, so many years after the trade, Jake Rogers is still here. You got traded for. Is there anything strange to throw to him?
No, I don't know. That's not something that we really think about. You can write about it, but no.
Jeff, a little more question. Separating the Tigers from the 3 hours, what is it about Detroit next year? What makes it special?
Gosh, I was there, 06 through 08, 9, 10, just remembering how bad it was in the city and kind of the grit. And I was there through the turnaround. Things were really starting to accelerate and change. by the time I left, and just the way that the fans, I think the thing that sticks out to me most is like the way the fans really embraced us, particularly in 2006. You know, to buy a ticket and come to a ball game was a huge expense for a lot of those fans, but it was also a getaway and something to celebrate and cheer for a city that was really struggling, and you know, that really meant a lot to me. And I think looking back, I was so young, and like now my life has changed so much. You know, I've got 2 kids. I've been married for a while now, and I'm just a different person. And like to like come back around and have another chance as a different man, to embrace the city that I grew up in front of. You know, like, you know, people look at athletes and think, you know, that they've got it all figured out. You know, and like I look back and I was 22 years old, 23, 24 early on. It's like I was a kid, you know, and just trying to figure things out. Happened to be really good at baseball, you know, but you know, now it's like just such a different experience, and I'm in a different place, and just excited to kind of re-experience Detroit in a new mindset.
Excuse me, just following up on that. You talked about you got evolved since you were here last. How do you think you have changed as a pitcher and as a person?
I mean, I think, look, I think perspective, like my daughter really changed me to the core. You know, just wanting to be more present is something I've really worked hard on. I was always like a horse with blinders on. You know, really, I mean, trying to pitch, and just kind of like all the noise was just exactly that noise, and I probably missed a lot of things along the way, and I think learned to kind of remove those blinders, and you know, take in a bigger picture, and I don't know, man, just enjoy the moments. Try to be present. Pitching wise, I mean, that's changed a bajillion times, so I don't know.
Justin, you mentioned your kids. I wonder what this return to Detroit and the Tigers means to your family, and like, is your daughter old enough to understand
Nothing.
No.
Absolutely not. No, she just knows I'm leaving again, which she's upset about. Yeah.
From a family perspective, just what this means to the Verlanders, I guess.
Yeah, you know, I pulled I pulled my daughter the other day and had a conversation with her about, you know, this is where I started my career and spent 12 years there, and she just didn't want to hear it. She was like, "Oh, okay, cool." You know, she wore a Mets jersey to school the other day for like wear a jersey day. She loves New York City, so you know, it's like to her it's not as nostalgic. Hopefully it can be. I mean, she's of the age, she's 7, so I think when she was born, I really had a mindset that I wanted to pitch long enough that she would be able to remember and experience some of these things with me. And now she's 7, so you know, that's an age where, you know, you can really ingrain some memories for life, and I hope she can have some great ones in Detroit.
Ben was quick to repost it.
Yeah.
We get on you down here.
Yeah.
How many years ago? Can we get him back on here? For
I mean, gosh, that story's getting old now, right? Not for him. I'm sure he'll be around.
Justin, all the personal growth you've talked about, how does that apply to the way you interact with your teammates? Like, what have you learned about how you can share your knowledge and experience with others?
Yeah, it's helped a lot. It's something that I've actively worked on. You know, my communication in the locker room. You know, that mindset I talked about earlier wasn't really conducive to being the best teammate when I was younger. I, you know, don't regret it, because I think I needed that mentality to be the pitcher that I was. But yeah, that perspective shift has really changed things, and like I said, proactively going to talk to guys, you know, making sure that they know I'm available at any time, and you know, not too scary to talk to, hopefully. You know, that's yeah, something I relish now.
Justin, you mentioned, you know, pitching through your 45, you know, 300 wins is on the horizon too. Are those things that are still goals for you, or are you taking it more as like a year-by-year
Yeah.
approach at this point?
Yeah, I mean, obviously 300 wins is something that I would love to accomplish. You know, last year made it difficult. You know, only getting 4, so you know, I know it's not going to be simple. So, but I think even going into last year, it was one of those things that it's a year by year thing at this point. If something were to happen, something catastrophic were to happen, like I'm not going to like go back through a big surgery and rehab things. So, you know, go out, do everything I can to pitch successfully, give us a chance to win, hopefully log a lot of winnings, take the ball, 30 plus times, let the chips fall where they may. If that ends up happening and I feel good, feel like I'm able to do it again, then rinse and repeat.
What were the conversations with AJ?
I mean, honestly, it was just like two friends catching up. Where is he? He's back there somewhere. Yeah, I mean, obviously we had a ton of history together, and we had a great relationship already, and we've stayed in touch since Houston. So, yeah, it was just fun to catch up with him, and he was telling me about the organization a lot and how things have changed here, and how good some of these guys are. We talked about pitching a lot. We talked about the staff a lot. Talked about Skubal a lot. It was just fun.
Justin, managers having an effect, obviously, on pitching and also on sound and the team's culture.
Mhm.
Assuming when the perspective and such.
Yeah. Yeah, good question. Yeah, I think Jim and AJ share a lot of similarities. And the longer I've played, I think the hardest thing for a manager to do is to cultivate a relationship where you feel like they're your friends, but you also know that they're still the boss. I think that's really hard to navigate. And I think those two guys in particular have been incredible at it. They go about it differently, but with the same mindset. So, yeah, that was a great question and something that has stuck out to me. Yeah.
You guys were all out here for Framber's introduction. They're right out here today.
Is he asleep, Framber? No, he's awake. All right.
What does it mean to be part of this rotation? And is there a bonding going on here between this group?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's early. I appreciate these guys showing up. Showing up for each other is half the battle, and we spend more time during the season with each other than we do with our family. It's still early, but little shows of support like this, coming here yesterday for Framber, it helps. It starts to help cultivate that friendship and relationship that you want to build, especially as a staff. Like we feed off of one another. Tend to hang out a lot more than the rest of the team because we have similar schedules. So yeah, this means a lot to me. These guys showing up, and hopefully we end up doing something special as a staff. We definitely have the opportunity. I mean, I sit here and look at these guys, and it definitely has the opportunity to be one of the better staffs that I've been a part of, and I've been a part of some really good ones.
I don't know if you think in this terms, legacies and all that, but is this sort of a legacy thing, completing the circuit? Did you think about that at all? And one follow-up, I might as well ask the Hall of Fame question. If by chance you were to get in the Hall of Fame, do you have any idea how you'd be recognized?
I'm not ready to answer that question yet. But yeah, I think something that's been on my mind towards the end of last year, like I touched on, was playing for a team that had some meaning for me. I didn't want to be like a mercenary that just kind of was like hopping around. I really felt like I wanted to be somewhere that resonated with me, and there were really two places here in Houston that I have a lot of history with, and the fan base, and I have the history with the fan base. So, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. I try not. I swear, I really try not to think about like the Hall of Fame and what that means. I just take it one year at a time and just kind of see what happens, and then see where my heart is.
Just an last one more, just from a pitching infrastructure and analytics standpoint, you articulate how much this organization has changed since you left. Do you ever feel like the stint in Houston is something you needed to rejuvenate your career back to when you
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's dramatically changed. So when I was here in Detroit, I think part of 17, it might have been before 17. So I came out of a game, and Brad Ausmus pulled me aside, and we talked about my pitch selection. And I was somebody who my whole career had really gone by instinct. I had watched video, kind of just learned as I went. And when we started talking about pitch selection, he was challenging me on a pitch that I had thrown that game, and I was pushing back. And, you know, at the end of the conversation, he was basically like, look, I appreciate all of what you're saying, but I don't think you're getting the full picture. Let me show you some data that I used to look at. I mean, literally, he used to look at when he was playing. That's what we were looking at in Detroit back then. But that kind of opened the door for me to analytics in a very dumbed down way at the time, just very kind of brash. But I started looking and trying to absorb information that way. So then you take that new mentality that I started looking at, and then I went to Houston and kind of went to the places that was at the forefront of that. And Brian McCann, who was the catcher there at the time, I get there and he's like, hey, how do you like to scout? And I'm like, oh, you know, he's like, do you like information? I said, as much as I can get. And he literally like takes me by the hand. He's like, hey, come check this out. And we like go back, and I feel like you're going back behind the curtain of Wizard of Oz, you know, like, and he's like, what do you want to know about this guy? And he just starts like asking questions, and he starts pulling up this data, and I'm like, holy shit, you know, like, wow. And it just blew my mind. And so I really kind of just like really dove all in on that. And yeah, it really did. It helped tremendously. Not only with me and my stuff, I mean, the one thing that they told, it was, you know, everybody thinks that they like revamped a lot of things for me. That really the one thing that they told me, they said, your four seam is one of the best pitches in baseball, and your two seam is doing the hitters a favor. It's very average. Stop throwing that. I'm like, oh, okay. You know, and they backed it up with data, right? Like then they show me on the screen all the data and why my four seam's elite and why my two seam was not, and made so much sense. So that was an easy fix, and that just kind of took off. And then that combined with being able to scout hitters the way that I was able to there and absorb that data really was just like the perfect storm. Yeah. Great. No, I got rid of that. I think I got rid of that in 17. You know, like it was. I was on a hell of a run for a long time and pitching great, so I had to keep doing all the routines. And the second I was bad, I was like, you know, I gotta get rid of that, Yeah. I mean, I'm all full of routines, but nothing crazy like Taco Bell. No. All right. Thanks, everybody.